Welcome to Behind the Badge. I'm Chief Alan Rod Bell of Scottsdale Police Department. With me is Chris Bassell, our community liaison.
Good. Hello, everybody.
How are we doing?
I'm good. I was going to say good morning, good afternoon. I don't even know what time it is.
Yeah, good May.
It's good May.
Good May. So
Nice
how are you
to see
doing?
I'm good. Everything's good. What's happening?
Not a whole lot. I know we have graduation for Citizens Academy coming up. Is
Right,
it
May 13th?
May 13th. And then the next class starts again probably after the summer.
September.
So if people are interested in the opportunity, this is the time to start looking at scheduling. And you know what day of the week it's going to be?
Yes, it's Thursday evenings.
Okay.
Starting the first week of September to the end of October.
Okay.
8 consecutive Thursday evenings for the next session.
And it's free, so if you're interested, go online, scottsdalepd.az.gov.
Yeah, I think it's spd.com.
Well,
I think
we'll
something
put it up.
like
We'll
that.
put it up there.
Up.
We'll put it up there.
We only work there. It's okay.
And then of course summer's starting, so the kids are going to be graduating. So all the issues involving young folks on the streets,
Yes.
enjoying their graduation, and then you of course got young kids out there in the pools in the summer.
Right. Be careful around water. I mean, we're already starting again.
Yeah. So all those issues that we are used to when school's out for the summer, folks should be aware of.
Watching kids on bicycles
Right.
and safety around pool, and just keep an eye on them, because then they're going to be free out of school and running around doing stuff.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. So today's program, we're going to talk about something that people probably hear the word all the time and don't necessarily understand exactly what it entails.
Correct.
But it's a fusion center.
Okay.
And the fusion center concept, I believe, was started a number of years ago, where a number of police departments in the East Valley came together. And at the time, the chief of police in Mesa was George Gascon, who has since gone to San Francisco. He's now the district attorney in San Francisco. But George had the concept of bringing the area chiefs together and trying to develop a program that would allow us to share information. And one of the things that's really great about Arizona law enforcement, and of course I'm from the East Coast and we didn't really have these opportunities back there, is the fact that jurisdictions are not necessarily hard, fast jurisdictions. Oftentimes, in some places, you come to a jurisdictional line and you stop. And you don't police across that line. You don't even necessarily share information across that line. But here in Arizona, it works really, really well.
Correct.
Here, we've got a team of folks that work at the Fusion Center from a number of cities, and we'll explain that in a second. They actually share information on a daily basis, many, many times during the day, of course, because they're working together. Share that information so that we know we know the people who are committing the crimes throughout our valley area. You know, we can arrest somebody in Gilbert that committed auto theft. Our auto theft is impacted.
Absolutely.
And if we can lock up a burglar in Phoenix, then our burglary rates are affected.
Exactly.
And so the sharing the information is critical.
Yeah,
to
bad guys
success.
don't have borders.
Exactly.
They don't stop at a border. I mean, they go on to the next city, so it's great. And I think the concept that the folks can learn, you know, after 9/11, you remember how they said that we need to share more information, and we learned that that was really important. So this is on the same concept.
So our guests today represent 3 of our partners, including our own Scottsdale Police Department. And I'll let you introduce our guests, and we'll give them a chance to tell us a little bit about who they are.
I'm going to introduce our guy.
Okay.
And then I'll let him introduce his teammates.
Perfect.
P.A. Henderson. I don't even know his name. Say your name, Chris.
Chris
Henningsen.
I got it. He's a police aide here at Scottsdale, and you've been at the Fusion Center how long now?
4 years.
4 years. And you've been on the department?
10 years full-time, and I've been with the department about 16 or 17 total.
Because you were volunteer first, and then you did
Explorer.
some other stuff. Great. And you have a sergeant and a fellow officer that you work with
I have
at the Fusion
Detective
Center?
Shirts with Gilbert PD.
And Sergeant?
And Sergeant Arvayo with Mesa PD.
Oh, welcome.
Welcome, guys.
Thank you, Chris.
Now, Sarge, you're actually the supervisor of the unit.
Yes.
And I know that you weren't the original supervisor that was assigned to the unit. We've had a series of supervisors over the years. You want to talk a little bit how the Fusion Center started and the leadership of Chief Gascon?
Absolutely. Back in 2007 is when the Fusion Center began, and it was an idea of information sharing at a very basic level, because what we were finding is at a very basic level we just weren't sharing. There was a lack of communication, even though technology was evolving. It wasn't necessarily crossing jurisdictional lines. So let's say if we had a robbery in Scottsdale, Mesa might not have known about it, and they might have experienced the robbery from the same suspect. So back in 2007, there was the thought of it. It came to fruition, and in the beginning we had 6 agencies in the East Valley that were part of that, and it grew, adding one more partner agency, federal partner agencies, state partner agencies, and county partner agencies at certain levels.
So we talk about who the partner agencies are real quick. Of course, it's Mesa, Tempe, Scottsdale, Gilbert, Chandler, and Salt River.
And Apache Junction.
And Apache Junction
Yes.
came on board as a part-time partner.
Yes.
And taking a huge responsibility as a part-time partner. And so when you think about it, one of the great things about this is that organizations like Salt River to come on board as an Indian community and actually join and share information was a huge opportunity for us to develop relationships across jurisdictional lines. And so it's been a wonderful success story. Information comes into the Fusion Center and then comes back out from all those entities and comes back out to each individual entity for their knowledge and intelligence and ability to fight crime. What's your role there, Detective?
I'm the representative from Gilbert, and basically I handle a lot of the day-to-day requests and things of that nature. It's crucial to have a representative from each different agency to bring to the table what's going on in our particular area. So I bring to the table what Gilbert has going on, and I also bring back to my folks what the other agencies at the center have going on.
And you're a sworn member?
Yes.
Because there's a mixture of sworn and non-sworn membership at the Fusion Center, and it's a great complement of skill sets and backgrounds and knowledge. And so how long have you been a member of the Fusion Center?
I've been there almost a year.
Almost a year
Coming
now?
up to a year, yes.
Right. And Chris, you've been there, as you mentioned, quite a few years. You're a non-sworn member, which means you don't have arrest powers, and you're an analyst, is that correct? And so how does your job differ from anyone else in there?
My job, I mean, I do the same that everybody else does by handling requests that come in through the inbox and answering phones. I just bring a different skill set. Like my skill set is really investigative workups and intel workups, and we just all have our own individual skill sets, which makes the center work even better because you're bringing all different skill sets in.
So basically, for people in the audience, this is an internal Fusion Center. So it's really for the officers. It's not a public center for the public to get information. This is information for our officers and our detectives in each city, thus the representation from each department, and they do intel work for our officers that might need help on the street when they stop a suspect or something like that. So I kind of want to make sure that people know that it isn't a public Fusion Center, it's more a police and federal and state center.
Correct.
Correct?
Yeah. I was going to talk about that real quickly in terms of these are the partner agencies, but there's lots of support being given to the Fusion Center from other agencies as well. Which agencies are involved?
So our federal partners, we have Department of Homeland Security, we have Homeland Security Investigations, we have ATF, alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosives. And those are the three main federal partners. For state partners, we have the DPS GIT'em Gang Task Force. We have the Arizona Automobile Theft, Anti-Auto Theft Task Force. At a county level, we have Maricopa County Probation. We have Arizona Department of Corrections Parole. So it's a number of law enforcement agencies and really non-law enforcement agencies that get together and share information, ultimately to fight crime.
It's phenomenal. Could we talk a little bit about the products for the citizens to know what kinds of things come back to the police departments that are policing their neighborhoods?
Well, in the Fusion Center, sometimes we get raw data that's brought in, and it could be data that really in the intelligence cycle, it hasn't been processed yet. So it's good information. And where we do touch what the public, information that the public can give is in the form of a tip maybe, where someone from the public will call in. It'll be raw information. We'll take that, we'll analyze it, we'll study what other information we gather just from that first bit of information, and we'll turn that into actionable intelligence that's put into a product. If you can imagine, for the the members of the public out there, say a report on a piece of paper that shows all of the data, what our comments are on the data, and why we believe it's actionable and how it's going to help to solve a case.
You've got many success stories because as a member we hear the success stories every month or every other month when we get together for our meetings. There's a wealth of accessibility for agencies, but you also provide some like things are happening right now, kind of current time in progress support. How does that work?
Well, the members of the Fusion Center, they monitor their police radios. So if you can imagine, if all 7 partner agencies are there, you have 7 radios on, but they're monitoring what's going on. So let's say a call that would come out in Scottsdale, what we would do is the Scottsdale analyst Henningsen would start helping the units as they're responding. Prior to them getting there, he's listening to the call, gathering information, and from the get-go, the information that's provided to the dispatcher and 911 center, that's information that we can start sifting through and providing even better information to units as they respond. So what happens is you have the pre-response. When units get there, we'll start helping whichever agency is working it. So if it was Analyst Henningsen, we'll start helping him gather more information as much as we can to really bring success to that call, because there's things when you're out there you can't worry about punching information into a computer. You're worried about safety of people at that scene, and until it's safe, you have to have someone that can provide you information, tactical intelligence, if you will.
So guys, share with us some success stories that the citizens might appreciate hearing about.
Detective?
I'll do the.
Okay.
So the Scottsdale, we had a bank robbery at Osborne. It was about Osborne and Scottsdale Road. And an individual went into the bank the day before to scout it out, and then the next day he robbed the bank. As soon as the call came out, we were monitoring the radios. And one thing that Sarge mentioned is, as soon as an in progress comes out, everybody in the center jumps on it. So it's not just one body. So in this case, we had 4 bodies jump on it, and one body's doing criminal programs, looking through our criminal databases to see if they can identify who the person is. Another person's doing more open source, like the internet, searching the internet to see if they can identify who the person is. I was the one that was the liaison on the radio between our detectives as well as our patrol folks, and we were able to give them all the information about the subject before they made contact with the subject. So they knew everything before, and they knew what the violence potential of the individual was. And this individual just pled to robbing this bank, and his prior history was robbing banks before. He'd spent 12 years in jail prior to that. And all the information that we received back from the detectives as well as the supervisors after the call was completely all kinds of accommodations, because they would have had to pull a body off their team, off their tactical team, to sit down in front of a computer and do a quarter of what we did for them, versus allowing us the opportunity to do it all and allowing them to put their bodies toward that success. So they were able to know everything about this individual, and they also knew they knew the violence potential of it, so they were able to call in for the special assignment unit, the SWAT team, to come in and assist them, because he had a pretty violent history too. So they were able to make additional calls in for other units to help them out from the information that we were able to provide to them. So,
Josh, cool. Yeah, it's very cool. You think about this. I've been in this business for almost 4 decades, but when you think about the way it used to be, is you respond to a call, you get your limited information from dispatch. Hopefully you could identify some witnesses that could give you some detail, but you'd get there and have to just put it all together, figure it all out, try to observe and find the suspect with limited idea of what you really were looking for, and oftentimes, you wouldn't be particularly successful. Here you're coming armed with all this additional information and detail to be safe and to be effective, to make an arrest. to protect citizens.
I was going to say that's really important.
It's
too.
huge. I mean,
Yeah.
it really is huge. And it isn't that. What I like about this is it's not that competitive nature of it's ours. We've got to get them, and we got to get them before you get them. It's a total cooperative effort of we're all in this together, and
Definitely
and that
synergy.
really is a huge. It's a huge benefit to the way we operate here in the Southwest. That citizens enjoy the benefit of that and don't necessarily know that we're doing that. And so I appreciate that story. Any stories from Gilbert in terms of success?
You know, I think at day to day we get requests for locating people, and so I find little successes each day with helping, you know, a detective that's kind of exhausted their resources track down a suspect they've been looking for. And a lot of that I'm able to do now through social media and open source internet. And it's amazing what people post and tell us where they are, so we're able to use that information they provide to actually track them down.
Yeah, it's sort of a curse at the same time a blessing for our business, but it is amazing how much people put information out there. And if you know where to look for it, and in our business, the needs that we need and things that we need to have in terms of information and resources, it's a tremendous advantage for us to have somebody that's paying attention to that. Because I guarantee that the guy and gal in the squad car, they don't have time to pay attention to that. They're going from call to call or observing traffic or whatever else action they're taking. It's nice to know somebody else is paying attention to those details. Thank you. Sarge, any other stories that you want to share in terms of success for the Fusion Center recently?
Well,
Not just in Scottsdale, but anywhere in the Valley, because we're all in this together.
yeah, you know, in Mesa we had at our Family Advocacy Center we had a case. We had a victim who was a victim of a sex crime, and you know, it was a very sad thing. This person was victimized. The case went cold because it happened several years earlier, and there were issues with recollecting who the suspect really was, what was the true identity of this suspect. So we had very little information, and eventually the case couldn't be worked anymore. And normally that would be something where the case it ends and the case is inactivated. We were able to get a hold of that case. We were able to, just with minute details in the investigation itself that was years old, we were able to go in and track down who this person was. They were identified, the investigation continued, and eventually the suspect admitted to everything. And had we not been there to really painstakingly go through all of the data, that wouldn't have been done. And it was a great success, and we had someone who was a victim of a horrendous crime, at least to get that much justice.
And somebody else for not being a victim of it again if you
Yes.
didn't get the suspect off the street. So that in itself is worth every penny that it costs to keep the office open and stuff. And it is housed at the Mesa Police Department, correct?
Yes, we're housed at the Mesa Police Department headquarters in downtown Mesa.
So all the officers or whoever district or whatever department they're from, they come and report to duty every day there.
Yes.
And it's we appreciate the supervision and leadership that occurs there, but in terms of the overlying responsibility, the chiefs all get together every other month to discuss budget, to discuss policy, to discuss product, discuss anything to celebrate the great stories that are coming out of the Fusion Center, just to make sure that we are staying very much in touch with the needs to make this be an ongoing and continually evolving program.
Yes.
And it has been, because it started out literally as gang issues, and now it's gang and violent crime issues, and even beyond that, trying to locate folks we need to locate. It's a true partnership and true use of resources across the East Valley. Now there's trying to start a similar Fusion Center on the West Valley, I understand, and I guess we've been trying to give them some support on that because this particular Fusion Center concept has really been recognized. We've gotten inquiries from all over the country in terms of this model. So you guys have done a great job, and quite frankly, I appreciate all that you do for us. Love the fact that we share information. Years ago, when we talk about the fact before technology existed, right? We didn't have radios, but before, we couldn't share information because there's no way of sharing information. We'd take Polaroid pictures of our suspects. We'd have binders with the people that we dealt with, and maybe if we heard somebody talk about something, we'd say, hey, I've got a picture of that person, and we go through our binders. But if we didn't hear about it, we didn't know to share. Then we got computers that didn't talk to each other. We just changed our binders to computers on desktops.
Big computers.
Big computers on desktops.
Big thick ones.
And literally, there was no sharing, and so we had more of a competitive nature of trying to be the first one to get there. And now it's got nothing to do with it. It's got to do with closing cases and sharing information, and you guys are at the hub of that. I'm so proud of the work that you all do. It's just been phenomenal for us as a valley. Crime rates are down nationally. Crime rates are more so down, I understand, in Maricopa County than other places. Now, there's lots of variables for that, but clearly one variable is sharing information and not keeping it to ourselves and trying to do it just for ourselves.
And you have to have a passion for this kind of work, because it is, you know, very specific. You have to really want to put the puzzle together.
It's detailed work.
It's very detailed work, and the pursuit of getting the bad guys.
Yeah.
So, and you not only share within the Arizona, but what I understood it, and when you do Citizens Academy, Chris, because you do teach at Citizens Academy, you had stated that we actually speak to other agencies across the country that have asked you for help, or that they have given us help on solving some crimes here, which is, it's not only local, but it's national.
So who are we linked to now?
Well, we're linked to all of the fusion centers around the country.
Okay.
So after 9/11, when all the fusion centers, when that concept was made, and then it was more towards Homeland Security. Once we built the East Valley Fusion Center, it was more towards crime. It still linked us into that network. So if we need information from New York City, we can call that fusion center, and we work with them all the time.
That's
and we
amazing.
can talk
Isn't
with
that
them.
great?
Yeah.
You know, information goes, it can travel as fast as you can click that button. So,
yeah. And the viewers might think, well, what do we care about what's happening in New York City? Quite frankly, people travel through Arizona, and a lot of our big cases are in other states. I mean, we've got lots of narcotics cases that cross state lines, and other kinds of violent crimes that cross state lines, and so those linkages really are important to us. And it's good that it's a national phenomenon in terms of that information sharing as well. So that's perfect. Now, but we do have some more detailed kind of links to like Phoenix, and even if are we still working in terms of California with our links there? So because some of the issues we have actually travel across those states, and Phoenix not state, but across, beyond just the East Valley, cross over into the rest of the state of Arizona. So.
And how long have you said you've been there, Sarge? I'm sorry, I don't remember.
I've been with Mesa PD for a little over 18 years. I've worked many assignments, and I've been at the Fusion Center for a little over a year.
Okay. And you, Detective, how long have you been with Gilbert?
I've been with Gilbert for a little over 10 years now.
Okay, and you said you've been at the center for about a year as well.
Yeah, coming up on a year now. Yes.
Great.
So prior to that, as a detective, what offices did you work in?
Actually, before that I was on the street, and I worked our crime suppression team and patrol before that, so very familiar with the patrol elements of things.
Okay, so a crime suppression team, for our viewers, that's a plainclothes, targeted sort of group of officers. That
it's a little different in Gilbert. We kind of we're clothed officers, but our uniformed
I hope
officers.
you're wearing clothes. Yeah. You're plain clothes, but you're in uniform.
We're
you're
uniform.
Okay.
Yes, in plain colored cars, so we're unmarked cars.
So unmarked cars.
Yeah, our cars are plain clothes.
Okay.
Yeah, so
but you're targeted locations, either high crime areas or areas of concern.
Using data that's driven from the reports, we kind of see where the higher area of crime falls, and we kind of concentrate our efforts on that area.
Super.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is another tactic, going with patterned crime.
Yeah, and every department has different kind of units. They call it different stuff. We change names of stuff all the time, so it doesn't really matter.
It's language.
Yeah, so
sometimes I have to ask when people use codes for our viewers.
Yeah, because they're like, what does that mean? It's like, whatever. But, well, we really appreciate you guys being here today. We think this is an important thing for our department to know that we are part of such a new and innovative thing. So, I mean, I'm just really proud. Again, Scottsdale is part of something that touches other agencies. So hopefully that helps you, our citizens, and gets the bad guys off the street.
Yeah, I think when you hear the term Fusion Center, it can be a little bit confusing.
Absolutely.
And so I think this helps clarify a lot of things.
Absolutely.
So thanks, guys. Appreciate you
Thank you
being
so
on the
much
show
for
with
being
us.
with us tonight.
Appreciate all that you do.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for all you do. So that's another show.
May's
and,
done.
May's
we'll
done.
See you in June. It'll be 115. But
oh boy.
We'll be here.
It's already in the 90s. Stay well, be safe, and we'll see
Take
you
care.
next month.
Bye-bye.